you, mister?
Oh!
I got jumped. A guy came out of nowhere and hit me with 2 stealth 10s in the back. I'm like, oh, I'm a potato now. I'm down. Like a sack of potatoes. I start trying to crawl away from him, and they grab me, tie my hands together, and then heal me. So I have 3 minutes of being in the weakened state, in which case I can't use any skills. And so they start running with me, which I can't run on my own. So they start dragging me to run with them. And I'm hearing all over the place people like screaming, like, they've got the captain of the guard!
It was the best.
Stop them! It was super cool.
Yeah, we were at the chess game, and all you hear is, Corvus is dead! And so it was like,
we were at the chess game,
yeah, we were.
No, I was sitting in the tavern when that happened. Okay, let's save this for the podcast. We can
all I
totally
hear is someone
argue over
say
this
shit,
later.
and I was like,
This was totally in the tavern before the chess game, because he came back in and asked for influences, and that's what everybody was handing out the cards, and I was like, the fuck is going on?
Maybe you were screaming during the chess game. I don't know. Someone was screaming.
I don't think I was. I mean, there was definitely a point in time where there was this strong monster that kind of walked up into the main area of the place, and I'm like, all of you up the stairs, and they're like, we can't, and I'm like, get up the stairs now, and they're like, why? What's that monster? I'm like, it's my father.
See, I did hear like something about your father.
Wait, that's not the glowy thing, right? That's something else.
No,
okay.
that was the guy with the big fucking bow and axe.
I didn't see that.
That's fine.
I heard you screaming, and I was like, nope. Chess game.
So a lot of our stuff was a lot of nope.
Are you even recording right now?
And we are live! Welcome to Live Action Roleplay with
Cynthia Marie.
Kai Norman.
and Ryan Omega. They did not know I was recording all of this time.
Shit.
Alright.
And what liquids are we having today?
Oh, are we talking about liquids, or are we going to talk about the scents?
We are talking about scents that are also liquids.
Okay, so as a special thing, we actually got a big, huge pile of little things called imps, which are tiny little vials of these...
Fucking imps. Sorry.
No, these imps are
Wrong kind of
awesome.
Better.
They are
Wrong
fragrant.
kind of imp. So,
Where are they from?
they are little, like, oil and perfume samples from Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab. And you can find that on their website, which is obviously blackphoenixalchemylab.com. They've given us a whole bunch of these samples, and the reason why these samples are so appropriate is because they have a lot of them that are really themed for role players and LARPers and nerds. For example, there are ones after all of the alignments of Dungeons & Dragons. There's ones after all of the classes. There's ones after all of the races. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff like steampunk ones and things like that. There's gotta be at least one scent in there that you think would fit your character. And so each of us have got one that we like right now, and we're going to mention and talk a little bit about why we like it.
I actually have 5.
You pick one. You pick one, young lady.
I can't.
So the one that I'm going to pick is called Snake Oil. I found this one a little more recently. It's got a really nice warm scent to it, and it's kind of a little spicy. And what I like the most about it is it has kind of a range to it. And by range, I mean actual physical range. People can smell it on me because it's a little strong, but it isn't overpowering. So you know I have a scent, and it kind of draws you in and wants you to smell a little bit more of it. And it's not like something that punches you in the face. You're like, oh, that's what I was smelling. Oh, that's nice. So that's the one that I like. How about you, Ryan?
Well, I smelled a couple of these, and even though this is nothing I've ever played, I do like the smell of Halfling because it smells like baked goods. I don't know which ones, but it smells amazing and makes me want to lick things.
All right, well, that's really on the nose. And a lot of these scents are really kind of playful. They really do try to play off the theme of whatever they're flavored after.
I'm not going to let you go with all those puns.
I didn't use a single pun there.
Bullshoy.
Lying.
That's bullshoy. Oh my god.
Yeah. How about you, Cyn?
Naturally, now, I went with Bard.
Bard?
Yay!
Bard.
Bard!
Bard. Why?
Why? Because I play one on Sirens of the Realm.
Yeah.
The scent, though, is kind of a mix of a sweet and kind of a floral. So I have it on right now. It's a little bit lighter than what I'm normally used to. As my sister yanks my arm over.
I like how Cyn is kind of holding her her wrist towards the mic as if you
Can
could
you
all
smell
smell
it?
this, guys. So helpful.
Sorry.
When we work out a way of smellograms with podcasts, we will probably never incorporate that because...
Damn.
Yeah.
Because some of us have beans.
Yes.
Whoa. It's crossing a whole other level here, Ryan.
Right. Well, with that, you did mention our special guest.
Yes, I'm not quite sure about special, but yes, definitely.
Rude.
Ooh.
Oh!
I was gonna make my own self-deprecating joke.
I got you. I got
Thanks.
you. We're allowed to have this banter because introduce who you are.
Hello, I'm Lex. I'm Cynthia's sister,
Yes.
which is pretty much what everyone knows me as. Your
Yes.
sister.
Yes. What do you have? What oil?
My favorite is Elf. It smells like pine trees or pine cones, and I think it's appropriately named if you have like any ranger elves.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice scent that like goes in the nose but doesn't stay there. It's not a heavy note or anything, so it's nice and pretty.
Yum yum.
Cool.
All right, shout-outs. Do we have any shout-outs for anyone today?
Crap, I have like so many.
Like 1,000,001, huh?
1,000,001. I'm just gonna like shout out to all of Twin Mass because you guys were all freaking amazing. Like you will hear in the next like, how long do we got? Guys?
Forever.
Like an hour of all the things. So yeah, shout out to everybody and thank you, Kai, for inviting us and
Absolutely.
literally dragging us over there.
It might have been a little forceful, but I'm super glad you guys decided to give it a try.
What about you, Kai?
So I feel like I've done this shout out before, but I want to do special mention. So one of our guests before, CW, has done a number of podcasts with us, and he's always got wonderful words of wisdom. There was a very, very cool bit of plot that we'll probably talk about a little bit in this podcast, but he done an amazing job of kind of making the Saturday night, like, you know, the final night of the game, kind of like big boss battle kind of fight that every LARP is going to have on their like apex night. And he done it in such an interesting, different way where he made it into a war game. So instead of us actually like trying to kill each other and things, we had like specific rules. It was almost like we were LARPing within a LARP. And because of that, kind of half the player base got split up, and we had like NPCs on each side and players on each side, and it was a really different spin compared to usually just like, you know, one or two strong bad guys and like a bunch of mooks and everyone swinging damage at those guys. This felt much more like just something very different. A lot of line fighting and combat, and it was a lot of fun. And it really impressed me. It gave a different flavor for the whole tone of the event because of it.
All right, so for me, I could not attend Twin Mask because I was doing work over in Milwaukee. So I was out there for a shoot producing things. So that's not like the worst thing in the world because I got to meet up with a couple of friends. So my shout outs are to my friends Mike K, who I've met at LARP 14 years ago.
Oh, wow.
In Arizona. He moved to Milwaukee, and he and I had a fun time just hanging out, catching up, talking about life, and it was almost as if things have never stopped because we were always in contact on LiveJournal, and then it was Facebook, and then sometimes we have phone calls. But it was amazing to see him 14 years later, and everything is still the same. And again, we met at a LARP. And he wasn't a local guy either, so I met him at a LARP at a convention, kind of showing that sometimes you can have lifelong relationships from people that you meet at conventions and LARP. And then the other shout out goes to my friend, John Gilbert, also known as Yoda. He is a longtime fan of Maze Arcana, and he said, you know, the moment you come out to Milwaukee, let's hang out. And we did, and it was awesome meeting him. He took me out to the local specialty called Cops. He showed me custard in Wisconsin, which is amazing. Like, I can never go back to ice cream. It's so good. Holy cow. So, and it's great to have, it's kind of like to put the name to a face to someone that you've just known on the internet who's been just like a fan of Maze Arcana, and now we're friends. I was like, this is great. So shout outs to both of them for helping my journey in Milwaukee be a pleasant one, because I got to work and play because of them.
Awesome.
All right. So for today's topic, we kind of thought this is going to be a lot of firsts for everybody here. But the reason why we have Lex here is because Cyn and Lex went to their first boffer LARP, namely Twin Mask.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
Dear God.
So how do we start this? Because I know you kind of want to talk all the things. So what made you decide to finally go to this one?
That's easy. Kai. We got a message from Kai. You're coming to Twin Mask, right? Yeah. No, seriously, you're coming to Twin Mask, right? Yeah, you're coming. Okay. And then he CC'd or added my sister.
Yeah,
and
he wrote this in. He was like, "Oh, your sister's now invited too."
I was like, "Damn, I can't get out of this now."
Mhm.
Not that I was trying to, but
So, listeners, I was trying to get Cyn to come for the past 3-4 months.
yeah.
And Cyn had been deftly evading, had been finding excuses. Vampire games had overlapped and things like that, which
Legitimate excuses.
are all and work and things like that, which are all very valid excuses. And so I just kept it up until I made sure that there was a point in time
You
where...
found my weakness.
Yep.
Yeah, that cute little thing over there.
Mhm.
Anywho, do you want to talk about perhaps how we chose our characters?
Actually, before we do that...
Okay.
Lex, because you're brand new to the...
To life.
Sure, life, action, roleplay. See how I spun that around there. What are the experiences of roleplay games and LARP that you've actually had up to this point?
Just Vampire.
Yeah?
The Masquerade. That is it.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. I am a newbie in everything, so
Cool. How long have you been doing that for?
June of last year. Not
Okay.
even a year yet.
Cool.
So
I think Cyn has talked about your character before. Was it the Bruja bodyguard?
Yes.
yes, go.
Yeah.
Who is no longer with our group. She's actually...
She's not dead though.
Yeah,
okay?
she's not with the group. Jesus. Mary and Joseph.
Kill it off.
She did not get killed, but you're playing another character.
Yeah, Belladonna, who's a gangrel.
Ooh.
She has transitioned because of school obligations. She could not do full-time LARP, so we had to get her a character that wasn't as involved in story.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Because apparently we're plot magnets.
Apparently.
Well, I've never seen either of your costumes for Vampire. However, I did see what both of you brought to the table for Twin Mask, and people were really surprised. They did not expect you guys to be new players because you kind of had your costumes super on point.
Yes.
That was a lot of research.
I don't know how many times I attempted my makeup for my black eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she has a lot of test pictures on her
It's
phone.
like testing.
Is this
1,
good?
2?
Is this good? Is this good?
It's good.
Is this good? Woo! I had it a little bit easier though, playing a Sake. I saw Justin Asher's character pictures, and I'll get to in how we're related and all of that. But he was like, I basically went for Prince of Persia, and I looked at Princess Tamina. I was like, done. I could do that. That's easy.
So, Cyn, how would you describe your costume pieces? Just so we can paint a little bit of a visual or an audible picture.
So the inspiration, the color palette was from Princess Tamina in Prince of Persia, so she wears a lot of white with a couple of accent colors. So I ended up borrow from a friend of mine, Sammy Miller, a coat, actually from John Carter? When John Carter who goes to Mars and stuff like that. So
the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, so that was a screen use piece from the movie?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That movie had some really cool costume direction.
Yeah, and probably not the best movie in the world, but the costumes were cool.
Yes.
So anywho, the coat was hers, and the vest was hers, and the boots were hers. Because she was just like, here, borrow my boots. What size are you? 8. Great, they fit. Boom, done. She's like, I don't care. Sling mud on them. I don't care. And I was like, all right, great.
Perfect.
So that's kind of where the costume inspiration came from. It's pretty easy.
But weren't you wearing very, very white pants?
Very, very white pants.
In
and
a
white
place
top.
where you're going to accumulate a lot of dirt.
I was so ready for it.
You actually didn't get dirty.
I did not get... You want to know how I got dirty? Dinner. And I was climbing and jumping over things and sitting in the dirt. No, the only time I got dirty was dinner.
fun.
Yes.
How about you, Lex?
Ooh,
How would you describe your
How did you
costume?
get your costume?
Your costume
How did
choices
I-
and your character.
well, the coat is yours, Cyn.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? It's a costume piece from Smallville?
Yeah, so I had somebody recreate a coat from Smallville from the character Isobel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's if anyone remembers, it's the Chinese long coat. It has all the it's black with all the dragons going down it.
It was kind of like a silk kind of trench coat kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty unique. It's really, really nice looking, too.
Well, I'm playing a Dacian. I figured I have to be as extra as possible. So that was my entire outfit choice is, if I have a bag, I need to have the bag. If I'm going to wear a scarf, I'm wearing the scarf. Like, everything just had to be at an 11. So I'm currently missing a hat, and I'm coming after you on the hat department.
Oh, I see.
As a fellow Dacian, I approve.
So some background here. Dacians are kind of the very like almost Rococo era kind of French people. They all love to wear ball gown or ballroom masks, like masquerade masks. For they believe that when they wear these masks, if they commit a sin, the mask absorbs the sin and their soul remains untarnished. So you often end up with a lot of court assassins. In fact, court assassins are almost like celebrities in their culture. And often what is legal is often defined by what is fashionable in that country. So they make for some very, very spontaneous and, as you put it, extra characters.
Yes, and to top it all off, at night I had a costume switch, which I mostly had a black outfit, but I had a white and gold dragon mask on.
That thing was really incredible. It actually reminded me a little bit of, for those of you who might have seen it, the movie with David Bowie, Labyrinth. His mask that he wears in the ballroom scene has these really long kind of horns spiraling off to the sides in the straight, like kind of straight out to the sides. And this mask was rather similar in that. Super beautiful.
Yeah.
Where did you get that one from?
Downtown LA.
Really?
Yep. There was only 2 of them. There was a purple one and a white one. And at first I was like, I don't know why at night it's not great, but I was like, wait, Dacian, I don't care if I'm not being, I want to be seen. I don't care what time it is.
Perfect.
Look at me.
Yeah, shockingly though, white in that area, like you don't really see it because of how pitch dark it was. Like I was wearing all white too, and like you couldn't see me for a lot of it.
And sometimes a little bit of colors actually blend in better into the shade of that, the gaming area. Which is, to let viewers know, it's a pretty common LARP area that people play in California. It's actually kind of a rundown, slowly getting rebuilt and renovated, fixed Renaissance Festival area.
Coronavirus?
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I've played a few different games there, and it's a really good playground for LARPing in general. And Lex's comment about coming after my hat. My character is a very kind of like imperial noble, very formal and straightforward in some of his actions, and he's got a big leather hat with a lot of plumage coming out of the top of it. And since there is a skill in the game called Fancy Hat, that if you have that hat and you kind of take it off to salute someone that you're fighting, it gives you some extra hit points. So obviously the people in game who have that skill, there's kind of an uphill, ongoing competition where who has the fanciest of the fancy hats. I feel like I've been fairly well in the lead recently. But apparently Lex is going to try and topple me.
Oh, for sure.
We shall see.
For sure. There's already 2 battles that I'm starting.
Oh, yeah?
Because Cynthia has called out all the Dacians on Facebook saying that the Sakes are now at war with us in the fashion department. Yeah.
No! No! This is not allowed!
Like, as her sister, this is a declaration of war, so bring it.
You already lost one battle.
Uh-oh.
I don't think so.
Oh.
Last time I checked, people weren't coming after you when we were leaving, saying, "Where'd you get that mask?"
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
What was this battle? You guys got to tell people now. What was this battle?
Fashion
The fashion battle?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were individually winning the fashion battle
Yes.
for our individual
We were.
groups.
Yeah, it was... I didn't do a lot of research on stakes as a whole in terms of aesthetic. I just went off of Justin's costume. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to match what he's wearing.
Justin's character, Amon, is honestly a pretty good typical version of a Sake anyway.
Yeah.
He's got the look kind of down.
Yeah.
Which is super awesome. And I always respect LARPers who kind of pick their characters like nation, culture, strain, race, whatever you're going to call it, and just make sure that their character is instantly visible as that kind of example.
Yeah.
Sure, some characters like prefer to keep their backstories kind of hidden and things like that, but as a costumer, I love being able to tell visual storytelling.
Yeah, obvious stuff. Which it helps, especially as a new player, to be able to identify pretty quickly. Okay, that's who this is. That's who this is. There was, I think there was one player that I saw that looked like a Sake, and I was like, oh, you're not. Okay, you're not one of us. Got it. So, yeah. It was a very interesting time.
Yeah. Although I do have the confusion because I am playing a Dacian pirate. So when I see all the pirates, I'm like, my brothers! Not really. Not really. You're Polish. You probably don't like me.
Some of them do, some of them don't. It kind of varies.
It depends who it is.
I'm sure you'll get along with a selection of pirates, but also a lot of the Dacians. Because the Dacians are seafaring folk and things like that. There's a lot of good people all around, and they're a ton of fun to roleplay with.
Yes.
Everyone was so
nice.
lovely.
Yeah. So nice and accommodating and very helpful. It's very, very interesting atmosphere. We're used to PvP, where a lot of people are just right on each other and kind of manipulative. And this was very, like, her and I, we have a story we'll tell in a bit, but we're worried with other people that, like, people are going to try to manipulate us, and, like, at least this game, nobody tried to manipulate us that badly.
What I've noticed in boffer LARPs is unless you kind of consent to playing the politics game, people aren't really going to try and hit you with the politics attacks.
Right.
Especially as a new player, you don't really have kind of an established reputation. Therefore, you're kind of a wild card already. Yeah. People don't know you, so they're not necessarily going to respect you quite as much. But they want to help you foster as well.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting situation for me because I actually did know quite a lot of people. So I actually had a couple of the comments of seeing me as a different character from LOJ, in which they were like, "Oh, we can't unsee your character from LOJ." So yeah, that was exciting.
It's hard to unsee you as my sister.
Right.
And so when I had to go up to Justin and say, like, hey, where's your sister? Because in this game, you're not mine. I don't know you.
Yeah.
We're friends.
People don't know that part yet, so we can't talk about it yet. So, anyhow, did you want to start off with how we started, or how?
Actually, I think a really good question to hit you guys with right now would be, what would you? So now that you've played a parlor LARP and you've played a boffer LARP, obviously the two are very different in certain ways, but very similar in others. What were your first impressions coming in, even down to like just showing up? Not knowing what's going on, like what were some of your first impressions and some of the impressions that really stuck with you about the game?
I was terrified. Like how Cynthia said, we normally do player versus player. And so every time I met someone, I was like, what are you going to do? Who are you? You're going to hurt me somehow. I don't trust anyone. And it was definitely a nice awakening to be like, oh, I can trust you. No one was like, oh, newbie, can't deal with this. So they're like, it's okay, take your time, you'll get there. Like, thank you.
That's one thing that's been really good about Twin Mask. I know that CW and other people have mentioned that they've been trying really hard to make sure that new players and new player experiences are very welcoming. Very often, even when I'm playing Sakariel, who has been in Twin Mask since game one, after a while, I couldn't tell who actually has been a long-time player and who's a newbie, and that's great. Like, I shouldn't be able to meta that knowledge and just really go off of that player experience, whatever they're role-playing with.
Yeah.
But sometimes they might need a little help. Yeah. But if a person can carry themselves out as someone experienced, there should be no reason for me to think otherwise.
Yeah. Well, so my first impression walking in, there was there's a long road that you kind of walk that gets you into the city, and her and I have no idea, like, what we were supposed to encounter or whatever, but I'm holding coffee for a friend of mine, PJ, because he's been there for already 2 days and he was exhausted, and I was like, hey, we're going to Starbucks, you want something? So here I am holding coffee, very Sake-like of me, I suppose. And we're walking in, I was like, man, I actually really feel like I died because there's nobody here. I have coffee in my hand that I can't drink. Like, this sucks already. Like, what's going on? So finally, like, we run into people and they're like, oh, this is where you go. And I would say that our first mod was quite the interesting moment.
I failed. I failed
died.
so bad.
She died on her first mod.
My brain does not process quickly enough.
It's all good. But we ended up... You want to skip it? You want to skip your moment there? Or?
No, you can talk about it.
All right, so the first mod essentially describes your death and like what you've sort of been doing, and you find a rip, at least for ours, I don't know if it's changed for anyone else, but you find a rip in basically time continuum area, and you kind of poke your hand through it, and like you actually land into the crypt that we were all at. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of had a thought that something was going to happen because... not for nothing, I guess I metagamed a little bit here, but like you bringing our weapons to us in the crypt, thank you very much.
I was an innocent mind.
She had no idea. She was like, oh, thanks, sword. Yeah, great, cool. And I had the daggers like sitting in front of me, and I was just like, I'm going to sit here and meditate because I feel like something is going to happen. And sure enough, we get up and we see these masked, for out of character, just masked people in all black, in character, the shadows that start coming out at you. Mm-hmm. And so I was back against the wall. She was up against a different wall. And I was like, oh, sheesh. And they're coming through an entrance that's closer to her. So I moved myself around this well that's in the middle of it and put my back up against the wall. Because I was like, if anyone's going to fight me, at least I have a back against the wall and they're not going to come from behind. All I hear is the storyteller, like, trying to heal her already. And I was like, oh, shit!
I was standing there with the dagger. I was like, what am I doing? Oh, they're attacking. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, there's Cynthia. Oh, and we're running.
No, we didn't run yet.
No, but my brain was not there. I was gonna die again if I didn't.
So I took out all three that were in there by myself, because she was, like, down for the count.
There was more.
There was more?
There was way more.
So I took out 3.
I was attacked by, like, 2 of them.
Okay, so they all hit the ground, and I decided to book it, and she's just walking there like Jack Sparrow, like da-da-da-da, like
I had to make an entrance. Okay.
So I bolt down, and that was basically our entrance into like the whole world. Is me like running past a whole bunch of people, and everyone's like, Miss, are you okay? I was like, there's things following me with the face and the. And I look over at her, and I'm like, hey, didn't you, like, steal money from me from, like, another time period?
It's not stealing if you're not good at keeping your money together.
So that was our gimmick the rest of the night, was the fact that she and I, in the previous life, played poker, and she won, and I thought that she stole the money from me. Oh. So that's how we kept our character tied together. Point. Yeah. But that was our entrance into the game. That was quite the intense moment.
So, for the listeners, the interesting, curious thing about this site is there's a couple of, like, haunted houses, or the structures for them, so like a series of tunnels and crypts and things like that kind of involved in the play area, and on the outside they look like normal Ren Fair buildings, but on the inside they're really good for kind of like dungeon adventures and things like that, because there's rope bridges and like a whole bunch of other cool kind of twisty turns and things. And so it's a bit of a maze in there. And that means it's a really good resource for the different entrances, kind of throwing players through there and having them fight things and things like that. So these two like are literally running out of out of this crypt straight into the middle of a whole bunch of players that are in character in the game world. And they're like, whoa, where the hell did you come from? Because usually people are not used to anyone coming out of there before. So yeah, like that's like a really good introduction to like kind of going in, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we spent a couple of hours just meeting everybody and running around
mm-hmm.
and talk. Like, I didn't meet my Sake family until like at least 3 hours into the game.
At least you met your family.
True.
I don't think I met a Dacian at dinner.
True.
I tried to direct you to a couple of them. A lot of the dations, just kind of keep an eye out for people who have, like, masks.
I saw a couple, walk by, but nothing, because I wasn't wearing my mask at the time. So.
Always, if you see someone that you want to go talk to or engage, I highly recommend doing it.
Just do it.
Yeah, just dive in.
It's hard. Gotta keep my safety blanket close.
That is fair. Like,
as she indicates to me.
I guess when you first started out, you guys were very, very attached to each other in the vampire LARP, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and from this point on, or from not specifically this point, but as time has been going on, it seems like you guys have been having more confidence in having your own scenes kind of on your own. From the sounds of it, with Go-Go not being as present, defending their boss, sister, or otherwise?
Both?
Okay, yeah, sure. With Go-Go kind of taking a step back from that scene and this Gangrel coming in, this Gangrel probably doesn't really know Cynthia's character, do they?
No.
No.
Actually, that was a fun...
that was a weird scene.
So, that was a really, really big game. Oh, Ryan, I wish you were there. Like, it was amazing. There was over 50 people?
Yeah, there's 15 visiting players.
Yeah, It was a really big game when she introduced her Gangrel. So, pretty much the entire night, I didn't see her for quite some time. And I was the lesser Harpy at the time, and my Harpy wanted me to do interviews of all the new characters so that I can learn, I'm air quoting, train me to be a Harpy. And so I'm going character after character after character after character, and all of a sudden she sits in my chair, and I was just like, oh, that's my sister. Okay. All right. We gotta talk. So it was a very interesting in character moment where I hadn't even met her character and had to be this so who are you? Why do you come here? What do you want from us? Sort of a thing. And then there was other people watching us, so we were completely in character. But when they skittered away, I was just out of character. How you doing? Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
It was the first time we've actually played in character, because most of our meetings are always just out of character. This is the recap of what's happening. Are you okay?
Is everything
Do we need to take
good?
a break?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot more confidence and happiness going through, and feeling safe, which is probably the biggest thing to take away. With my anxiety, I get really nervous about new situations and how I'm going to react to it. So with Twin Mask, I was afraid of temperature or being alone, and there was one moment that I did experience a higher frequency of anxiety, but that was on my own accord and my own problem, because it was at the war games that you had already talked about, and I realized very quickly that I only had 5 hit points, and I was about to go into a war game. I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna die. I only have 2 daggers, I can't fight. Crap.
Luckily, in that war game, if anyone dropped, all of the participants were supposed to heal people up. Although I have to admit, when it first started, all of the human players who were the defenders, the ones that were kind of protecting all of the capture points and stuff, when we were discussing it, we were like, so this is either on the level, or all of these Effendal, which are basically another name for elves, all of these elvish characters that have kind of shown up, we really pissed them off recently, and this is a peace treaty. They might turn around and just murk us all. We should be careful about that.
Yeah.
And so there was this little extra added layer of paranoia.
Yeah.
That was abated eventually, but it was super good.
So we were only there for the first part of it, of that part of anxiety, and I looked at her and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up turning to Justin. I was like, I think out of character, might have had to bow out, and luckily somebody came over and was like, we need a scout to run. I was like, me! I will run! I can't run to save my life, but was I running like somebody was about to kill me?
And that's also one of the nicer things about a lot of the boffer LARPs that I've played, unless it's one of the sport LARPs like DAG or Bell or things like that, when it comes to some of the more in-depth ones, there's a lot of kind of opt-out.
Yeah.
If you're feeling anxious and you're having a moment kind of thing, your character might be in trouble, but you as a person are more important.
Yep.
And therefore, if you're having an anxiety moment or you have a fear of zombies or something like that, and you're just at your limit and you're like, this is no longer fun for me, I need to step away.
Yeah.
And people are okay with you doing that, which is nice.
Very appreciative of that feeling. Like, the moment Justin was like, go sit in the tent, you're totally fine. Like, all of it melted away, and I was like, okay, I can play. I can hang. Cool. I'm good. As long as I knew that there was an escape and a way for me to, like, just, like, shut out the world for, like, a hot second, I was fine. And then realizing who I was surrounded with, I was like, why am I scared? Like, this is dumb.
Speaking of appreciation, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for live action roleplay. This was a thing that they suggested to us, and we have 7 patrons so far, which is more than we thought we would ever get.
Who are they? I haven't checked.
2 of our major supporters are actually Geeky Teas in Burbank.
Yes.
Our friend Donna.
Yes, thank you, Donna.
And Lost Colonies LARP out on the East Coast.
Whoa.
I know. We have a supporter out in the East Coast, and I wanted to give them a shout out. I mean, obviously a shout out for supporting us, but especially to Donna recently. I was kind of feeling blue, missing both WonderCon and Twin Mask. The reason why I'm not talking a lot for today is because I missed out on those things, and I'm so horribly jealous right now.
We love you.
I love you too, but I'm jealous. So jealous. And Donna realized this, and she messaged me, I got your back.
Aww.
So it's wonderful to hear that. And then Lost Colonies is having their first playtest on April 14th in Sterling, Virginia.
Yes.
So they've been just collecting people and starting with storylines, and they have 190 members already, but they have yet to start their playtest. So if you want to check them out, check out their Facebook groups. So I want to make sure that we got that in there. And also for everyone else who's been supporting us, thank you so much. Not just Patreon, but also listening, also putting reviews, telling your friends.
Yeah.
Because so much of our podcast listenership is word of mouth.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Yeah. Super, super appreciate all of you, the things you guys do. If you get the chance, give us a positive review on iTunes, 5 stars if you feel like it. We would appreciate it greatly. Likewise, Podbean has a review system, I'm pretty sure. So if you guys feel like that, it helps us out a ton. But tell your friends, enjoy, get involved in our community. We have our Facebook group, and anyone can join that. Please do. We have like a bunch of questionnaires and things, and we love to, like kind of chat with you guys and shoot the shit and find out what kind of things you want to hear and you want to talk about. Because there's so much complexity and depth to LARP, and we're just talking about what we want to talk about. We'd love to talk about what you guys want to talk about.
And one other thing about Patreon, which is something that I do every week. Once a week, I actually give producers notes on some of the things that happen behind the scenes ever since starting the Patreon, but also behind the scenes on our interviews with Rudy and Satine. I've talked about like some things that went on there. So if you want to listen to some of our behind the scenes, I give those notes every week, and all you have to do is be a subscriber to Patreon.
Woo! Cool. All right, now, so we've talked about a few different things. We've talked about what you guys thought of your kind of first impression of LARP, at least with a buffer LARP specifically.
Don't use daggers.
Don't use daggers. Daggers are hard. Also, I feel especially bad that the loner daggers we were able to get you were a little on the short side. In future, we'll try and change that, I think.
No worries. I do have a small little shout out to my sister who disarmed me while we were, like, playing. And
I did?
Yeah, you totally disarmed me.
Yeah?
Like, straight up. After she trained with you, Kai, we were practicing, like, during the war games, like, just in case. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to do this. And she, like, hits my dagger out of my hand. I was like, shit.
Yes, I didn't know I
did
that.
You, like, legitimately just disarmed me. Like, there was no question about that.
That's a thanks to Kai, PJ, and Kevin for all teaching me. I had many teachers.
Hey. We were all showing you little different things. Kevin is a very accomplished like sport fighter. He's a very, very good fighter and makes a lot of LARP weapons. PJ is just an all-around super cool dude.
Yeah, he is also trained in stunt fighting as well.
Yeah. Like Kevin does the sport element of it. PJ is more of a stunt fighter. I'm just a nerd.
Hell, I needed some training. I needed to learn how to fight a little bit better with my daggers. I had to dust off the rust from stores fighting.
So now that you've played boffer LARP, what advice would you give to other people who have yet to play one? Things that you've discovered this game that you kind of go, oh, I wish I had known that, or something they might be pleasantly surprised about.
There is a pretest. In the very beginning, don't be stupid like me and be like, everything's fine, everything's great, you're in a magical, lovely world. No, there's a pretest. Just a little forewarning there.
For body safety, try to stretch a lot so that you don't hurt yourself, and above all else, just just jump in and do the thing. Like just enjoy. Following the story. That was a lot of what we did, was just we found somebody that we knew and we're like, hi, how are you? And they just dragged us along and jumped in for the ride. So it was really cool. There's a couple of different experiences. Had we not said yes and, like, we probably would have just been stuck at the tavern, like, hanging out with everybody. Not that that was a bad thing. No, it's also cool. But we got dragged onto, like, really cool adventures, so.
One of my favorite things is finding the occasional, like, if I go past, like, I'm on my way to some kind of mission or something like that, if I walk past a player that I know is on the newer side, I grab them and I'm like, what are you doing right now? And because my character is Captain of the Guard, they're usually like, uh-oh. And I'm like, are you busy? And if they say yes, I'm like, well, go do what you're supposed to go do. Go on. Otherwise, I'm like, come with me.
Yes.
And I just drag them on these ridiculous adventures that we get up to.
So speaking of ridiculous adventures and being dragged on, we have to say this. I gotta look at the player name again. I apologize for 1 second. So we were in the middle of, it's called The Judge Story.
That is Tristan.
Yes, thank you.
Tristan Verlaine. I believe it's Verlaine.
So War Games happened, and we, as you heard us say, that we ran off to be like the messenger, the scout sort of a thing. And they're like, okay, great, so you can deliver this message to the docks because there's people over there. As new players, we're like,
where's that?
Where's the docks? It's over there. Okay, so we start, running because, like, oh god, there's an attack happening. We go to the tavern, everyone's like, we're like, we need more fighters. Oh, we're not fighting, but there's people at the docks. Where's that?
Sorry.
Okay, so we start running. We get past like where the restrooms are at. This ominous shadow of a man with a white mask and a rather large-ish hat, but dressed all in black, comes out and goes, I need a couple of escorts, come here. Excuse me, what? So, freeze frame, we are very used to people, like, saying that kind of stuff and then shanking us in the back.
That's when we got attacked by imps earlier.
Yeah, we got attacked by imps. That was rough. So, unfreeze frame, so we're standing there and I have my daggers out. I was just like, who are you? I'm the judge, and blah, blah, blah. Please escort me to my tent. Oh my god, we're gonna get killed. Oh my god, we're gonna get killed.
We've been burned too many times in the past that we were like, I was not even paying attention to what he was saying. I was like, who's jumping me? Who's jumping me?
So
the physical description of this character, for those unaware, he's in completely all black, long, flowing, almost judicial robes. He has a complete kind of cowl over his head. And something that resembles almost like a black, like pope or papal hat.
Yeah.
And then he has this half mask that looks reminiscent of a skull that is bleeding black from its eye sockets. And so he's wearing that over the top of just this blackout material for the rest of his face. He looks creepy as fuck.
And so to also set the tone, it was sunset. So the sun was pretty much down, but there was still like a little bit of light.
A little bit of twilight.
Yeah, you really couldn't see who it is. And to her credit, she knew that I knew a lot of people. So she leans over, she's like, do you know him? And I was like, no.
That was because he was talking about picking a champion. And so my head was either, he's Dacian, it's me. He's Cynthia's friend, it's you. And I'm like, what's happening? It's your fault.
Or neither.
Right, yeah, and we're completely fucked. But to give a little bit of background, he takes us to the tent. We escort him to the tent, and he asks us, do we know anything about nobility? And of course, being newly returned, we're like, no. So he gives us this beautiful monologue of what nobility is and like what the pins mean and all this kind of stuff. So it was actually a really great like history lesson while we were completely on edge because there's a war game going on and we had to deliver messages to people, and he stopped us from doing that. And I was just like, oh my god, people could be dying in the front line and we need to deliver this and we're going to die here. Like someone's going to try to kill us. I only have 5 hit points. So we didn't die. Just so y'all know. Yay! And he was actually really sweet, and talking to Tristan later on, it was hilarious. He thought that we were going to kill him. And he did something a little klutzy. He's like, I was hoping you guys didn't notice. I was like, no clue.
Nope, I did not notice anything.
That was probably 1 of 2, 3 of my favorite moments.
What was this klutzy thing that he did?
He was pouring a drink, and he spilled.
Oh.
But we were not paying attention. Like I said,
You were just captivated?
Yes. No, we were thinking someone else was coming out of the shadows. Yeah. So he's talking here, and I'm like, yes, very important. Who's coming at me?
Nice. All right, Lex, I'm going to put you on the spot.
All right.
What was a moment specifically for you?
Or
one that you take the lead in?
We had to go on a rescue mission to save... the player name was Noemi. Character name. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I like Niami or Miami or something like that. Yeah, I forget the pronunciation on that character. Yes,
it was a fae.
Cat fae person.
And there was like 14 of us that signed up to go, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. But as we kept going through the quest, they needed different type of magic users, and they needed a diviner. And there's not many diviners in this game, and I just so happened to be one.
Perfect.
And so I was like, yes, I'm useful. People need me.
Yeah, because you had you came in as a level 1 diviner, yes?
Yes. So, I mean, like...
what kind of spells did you have?
I was able to create light.
Which is useful in a dungeon.
Yes, if I had an object to bring light with.
In future, if you get some kind of glowing ball or like a book that you open that glows, it's kind of fun. You get to make your own kind of props for that, like representing your magical powers.
Yeah, I was also able to sense danger, which was probably not...
Spoiler alert, everything's dangerous.
Yeah, I was like, we're in a dungeon. Everything's dangerous. And the other one was to sense magic. But we went through like the land of the Fae, so I'm like...
Everything's magical?
It's magic. I don't think I need to sense it. I think everyone senses it.
You were the canary in the mine shaft, right?
And then the last one, which was actually the useful one, I was able to interpret different languages.
Oh.
So I was able to read some of the ruins on the wall.
Ooh.
And I'll be like, do we have a necromancer? Because that's what the wall is saying.
The wall is necromancy?
Apparently, so...
Cool.
I like that because... The other diviner there was Shakes.
Yes.
So Shakes doesn't speak.
Mm.
So basically, if I wasn't there, they would have been stuck in the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yay, I'm useful.
Shakes is a pretty interesting character. He's
amazing.
He doesn't have a tongue. And he only communicates to people by kind of making weird whistling noises and giving people oranges. I haven't worked out the purpose of either of those, but he does a lot of hand gesturing. And some people are very good at working out what he's trying to say. I, for one, am awful at it.
Oh, I caught on real fast.
Which for me is even more enjoyable because I'm just like looking at him deadpan. He's making all of these wild gesticulations. And I'm like, I don't follow. Well, just say it or write it down. And I try to give him a pen and he throws the pen back at me and continues to gesture wildly. I'm like, you're frustrating me.
The most amazing thing about, first of all, the concept of Jordan, who plays Shakes, is so freaking amazing.
Oh?
Because, first of all, he does all this mime work.
Mm-hmm.
He draws, but he's not literate. So he can't write anything for you. He can draw things to you. He can draw things for you. He can do gestures.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to play a character for nearly 5 years.
Oh my god!
Without saying words is insane.
And he takes breaks and he plays other characters, but this Shakes character is kind of amazing. Apparently, they started out that character was just troubled with hallucinations and things like that, and he was capable of talking. And as his powers of prophecy got more and more powerful, he started to lose his ability of speech until he could no longer talk at all. I think he used to know how to write as well, and he lost his literacy through that as well. So he just was losing abilities to communicate as he was developing these incredibly powerful prophetic dreams that would tell him the answers to practically everything. But he had such hard times trying to express them.
I will say, though, that when there was a time when the character was being retired for a little bit, he did this moment where we all went into the dream world where he was. And his first words were singing, and I bawled my eyes out because after not hearing him say words, his first words were singing. I was just on the floor because Shakes was my brother. My family, the House Paloma, adopted him because he was so talented. Aww. And all the money that you see in Twin Mask, the banner of Solace, were all designed by him. Wow. Jordan is a super talented artist. And so as someone from House Paloma, Dacian House, we decided that we would adopt him, and he became my brother. So when he brought us into this world where he was saying goodbye, he was turning a little music box, playing like music and singing like his goodbyes. And half of us were just on the floor just crying. It was the most crying we have done in Twin Mask, because that was his way of saying goodbye, because when he was gone, he was gone. And
so how did he come back? Because I'm so happy he's here.
Plot. I'm going to say plot, so I'm not going to reveal that.
That is absolutely a question that you should ask Shakes, and good luck, may the odds ever be in your favor, because I can never understand it.
I would say we're actually pretty good interpreters.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, even better. Have fun asking him that question.
I'm like, maybe you could use this next time.
Maybe.
So, pretty good.
So, that was pretty cool, but you guys said you had maybe... Can you give us another quick one?
Yeah.
Or do we have another topic element that we can move to, potentially, rather than just war stories?
Well...
War stories are a lot of fun.
Yeah, war stories are a lot of fun. I'm looking at the time right now, and there was another topic that I did want to introduce, but we can save that for another time.
Okay.
Oops.
There's no oops. There's no oops in this. I think, again, I could not really contribute to this discussion because I wasn't here. But at the same time... I'm not here. I mean, I'm right here, but I wasn't at the game. But the one thing that I kind of thought was more important was to convey people's first time at a LARP, so that people understand that there's a level of joy that you can only really speak about when you first attended your first LARP.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is more important than anything that I have to say, because, oh my gosh, I could say so many other words in many other podcasts, but really we need to spend that time for people, especially if they're afraid to try their first LARP, whether it's parlor or boffer. No,
barfer.
Boffer, oh my god. I started to drink the sake.
Boffer LARP and barfer.
And boffer LARP. Those moments are important to capture, and thank you for giving that to us.
Of course. Hey, new player base here, just gotta kind of give it all. And I would say that starting a boffer LARP, the first thing that I really truly realized that I needed to learn real fast was how to hide. Because I come from a stunt fight training world. I was like, I know how to fight. This is easy. And the moment I realized I only had 5 hit points and I got hit by the imps 10 times, I was just like, oh, frack. I went down real fast, and I was like, oh, okay, I gotta change my strategy about this game. And actually really helped me discover who this character really was going to start to become. So I'm actually trying to look for more of the scouting type stuff, more of the roguish, more of the open assassin. So I've been talking to a lot of my tribe about opening an oasis with hookah and belly dancing in hopes that people will start generating a lot of information, because I want my character to be able to know what was going on in the realm and be able to respond.
Oh, you'll be popular. Cool.
To that kind of stuff. But also I have a couple of things up my sleeve that I'm ready to go purchase and be ready for a fight. But yeah, it was really all about hiding for me. So one of my favorite moments was we literally became my favorite video game, Assassin's Creed. So it was like sundown was happening, and Shakes, of all freaking people, starts whistling at us, and we were like, where's this whistle coming from? Find out that Shakes had we
didn't even know
magically move,
because we were like, he was in the same group with us, and he just disappeared, and we're like, there's no way that was Shakes.
Found somebody whose spinal cord in character was severed, which was crazy because that person was newly returned. At any rate, long story short, we ended up dispersing as assassins, and they took the injured person away, and we heard people screaming off in the distance. So me, Amon, Shakes, Alagvidia, which is me, and Lena, which is Alexa, all kind of banded together and did this whole Assassin's Creed thing where we're hopping over things and being stupid stealthy and quiet. Nobody heard us walking around, to the point where that group that we heard screaming started walking, and we all just melted away into the scenery. I found a white building that I literally blended into, mimed up against the wall, and you only see half of my face and half of my leg, and I was just kind of ducking in and out. And we get back together with the group, and I look at Justin, and I have this big, childish grin on my face. I was like, did we just Assassin's Creed? He was like, yeah, we sure did. It was the most amazing moment, but had it not been for Shakes who whistled us over, we wouldn't have had that moment. So we had learned to interpret Shakes' whistles. Mm-hmm. It was quite good. That was literally one of my favorite moments.
You also picked a really good group to be stealthy with.
Yeah.
That entire group, the players you named,
we were silent. So I heard from PJ. He was like, "Wow, you were ninja stealth when you were doing that." He didn't hear me. I walked away, and he was like, "Where did she go?" And walked back, and he was like, "How the hell did you appear that quick?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I just walked here." So that was cool. It was fun. Good times. What was one of your favorite moments, Kai, of the game?
Me?
Yeah.
So during that war game, I had a lot of good moments, actually. This was kind of the first... So my character took over being the guy running the town guard. Last game that I played, I was kind of easing into the situation. The current town guard was not present, so I was like, oh, this is how it's always going to be. And I just started hiring other guardsmen and kind of giving them all badges and stuff and making them visible, so that the players started having a reason to go around. And I didn't create the character with this goal, but I've discovered that the thing I enjoy most about this LARP is enabling newer players. And I've got a couple of different ways of involving that. And one of the main methods is taking players that are more of the moral, kind of upstanding citizen style characters. So not you two. And offering them positions in the town guard, so they get paid in-character money to do it. They have a group of people that they're allied with and friendly with. We've got certain resources, so we give them magic swords and better suits of armor, so they get to run around and be a little more powerful, or quite a bit more powerful.
We encountered a few of them.
Yeah, I'm jealous I wasn't invited.
You were a pirate. What did you expect?
Oh, you know what? Next time you get abducted by pirates, I won't help you.
Shade prone.
Rude. As this character, my goal is to find players who are lower in experience points to mine, and trying to recruit them into the guard and give them some fun to go and do. I have players who have aligned themselves more towards they're really interested in murder investigations and things like that. So I've been actually giving those jobs to them, and I've seen them running around in game, kind of interacting with these different mods and kind of looking for clues and things and using all the skills involving that. And they've been getting told different things. I'm I'm super proud of them. Other groups are enjoying going around on patrols, and when bandits show up, they're beating the crap out of them. But my character is more moral, so he's like, we can't kill people. So if you beat someone up, I want you to heal them, and then here are these chains. We're going to put them in chains and throw them in jail. And we're actually having a problem right now where we're throwing too many people in jail. We're being too efficient. My character is now turning around in a very imperial fashion, saying, well, let's offer all of the people who have been imprisoned the option for shorter sentences with hard labor. So there'll be resource gathering, like stone and wood for us, which we can use to build a bigger dungeon. Yeah, I mean, and that's the weird things I'm doing in my game. And I expected this game to be relatively easy. It wasn't. I did not eat a single hot meal the entire game, because by the time I would have just enough time to wait in line, I would get my meal, and then everything would be on fire. And so I would put my meal down, and then maybe an hour or two later, I would get back to my meal, and I'd be eating cold soup, or cold chicken and beans, or cold taquitos, or whatever it is. It was cold, and that's fine. If you think about it, even lunchtime when I made myself that sandwich, I put that sandwich down and left it alone for half an hour before I came back to the sake camp. You guys are all finished eating, and I pick up my sandwich, and I'm like, all right, I'll see you later, and I walk away. I was super busy, but I did have some amazing moments, and the most interesting for me at the time was the opportunity to fight in a personal one-on-one duel against the lord of that big group that came into town and challenged the town to a war game. And we had this amazing moment where time kind of stood still a little bit, or slowed down, and we're in the middle of this big pitched line battle with maybe 30 people on each side. And there are swinging blows, and everyone's beating the crap out of each other, and falling back, getting healed, and running back in there kind of thing. And the leader, who's actually being played by CW, claps eyes on me, and he smiles and says my character's name, Corvus. And then he talks about how, it's like, do you want to end this now? Because if he gets defeated, it's an instant victory for us. But I was one of two people that if both of us were defeated, we would instantly lose. And he challenged me to a duel. And my character claims that he is a duelist. I have a lot of skills from the duelist tree. So I had a lot of abilities that meant if someone would throw very big damage attacks at me, if I survived those attacks, which isn't a small feat, I can turn around and copy them and throw them right back at him.
Ooh.
And that's what makes the character build very efficient for kind of one-on-oneing people that are more powerful than me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got this really fun moment where I got to actually show the town, because there was a good 40 to 60 people in a huge circle as we fight this honorable duel. And it was really, really fun, really engaging. I was really worried that he was going to kick the total crap out of me because he was wearing heavy armor and he had a big shield. And just before the duel started, he put his shield down, so he was fighting on more even terms with me.
Nice.
And from the start, I expected to lose, but I'm like, I'm going to make this hard for him. And it did. I got him down a little bit. I don't know how much. I didn't actually care to ask. But it really impressed that character. And it ended up really benefiting the town, because he gave me a reward that went straight back into the town by, helping the guard and resources and make them some more armor, so I can help more new players run around and feel like heroes instead.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I love the circular kind of effect of that.
I heard none of that.
You didn't?
No, in-game. Heard none of that.
Of all of that kind of going on?
I did. Had no idea. Oh, you did?
I heard he had a battle.
Yeah.
I heard none of it.
So both of you unfortunately were not present for that duel.
Nope.
I'm glad a lot of people got to see it, but it was crazy. It was a lot of fun, and it's definitely going to be one of the highlight points. Even though at the end of it, I did get my ass kicked, but it was super fun, and kind of the theme of that whole fight. One of the rulers of the town was kind of making a big deal about. It doesn't matter if we win or lose this war game, it's how we conduct ourselves. Mm-hmm. We have to fight as a unit. We can't run off and do stupid heroic acts. We have to fight like an army, and we have to impress him. Yep. This is all posturing. This is all display. And so while the humans were marching up to their defensive point, the defenders, the group that I was a part of, as we're marching up there, we're doing the Marine kind of ho, ho, ho. oh,
we heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as
We
we're
heard
like
that.
marching up with every step, and it got us hyped, it got us pumped. It was really fun because like, a good 40 people like doing that and like stomping as we're going kind of in march. It was it's really interesting, the psychology behind all of that, and it was really fun.
Right on.
Yeah,
Ryan,
and so it made it very memorable.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I know that you've played nobles often, and Sakuriel is actually quite a big influence in Twin Mask. However, do you have a memorable fight that you've ever done? Because I have never heard you talk about fighting ever.
So the thing about Sakuriel is that we have learned just through years of roleplay from Twin Mask that I should never go into a fight. Mm-hmm. Not because I can't fight, because you've seen, like, we've been in fight class together.
Yes.
So I know I can fight.
Yes.
But it's like, the best description is I'm the king on the chessboard.
Yeah.
If I go down, because I'm the one with all the resurrections, and I'm also in charge of the government, things literally go into chaos.
Okay.
And it's strange because in Twin Mask in the past, Twin Mask broke whenever I did not attend, at least 3 times.
Oh my.
Whoops.
And I'm not saying that as a point of pride. It was just more like oh, crap, I need to actually be there to make sure that things are stable. Like the first time I didn't attend, it turned out that 2 warring groups actually started to fight each other because I was not there to keep the peace.
Oh no.
And that happened a couple of other times. And so it was always important for my character to be there. And even when my character was in charge of creating Port Frey, and he brought that over to Solace, when I retired to NPC, I was the only NPC that was still active in game because it made no sense for the governor to not be present. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, people could take advantage of the fact that I was the only one with resurrection, so it was really important for me to be present. So for me, it's weird because like for going for so long without fighting, people forget that I can actually fight. Mm-hmm. And so I've been itching to play characters that fight. Unfortunately, the other character that I play is Contabas, who is a demon of sloth and would rather sleep even during a fight. Yeah. And I've done it before, and it's kind of hilarious. I really, really want to fight. I want to fight so bad. It's just that in Twin Mask, it just doesn't like pan out. So I try to do fighting in other games like Rendelier, where I'm an active spear fighter, and I actually fight with CW and Tobias.
Oh, okay.
So when all 3 of us were in Rendelier, it's kind of surreal because, like, for whatever reason, we have such synergy that we fight really, really well together, and it's actually kind of cool.
I want to see you fight.
I can fight.
I would love to see that.
I definitely am out of practice, but even this morning I did exercise with a sword.
Yay!
So I'm trying. I need to cut a little bit of weight so I can get faster, like more than anything.
Fair.
So
speaking of swords, I'm hoping to do some sword balancing, belly dancing in my Oasis. So
cool.
Yeah. All right, I'm looking at the time right now, so it's time for social medias. Lex, what is your social media?
You can find me on Instagram at its_Lex. That's about it.
Perfect. Cyn?
Instagram, Cynthia__Marie. That is 2 underscores. And you can find me on Twitter at CynDancer.
You can find me on most of the social medias, if not all of them, under Kai, under me, whatever. Words are hard. I'm just gonna.
One more time.
No, I've done like 4 takes, and I keep messing this up, so we're gonna keep this one. Yokai Props. YOKAI PROPS. That is how you find me when I can actually work out how to word. Ryan?
All right, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Ryan Omega, except for Twitter, which is Ryan OMGA. Otherwise, you can find me behind the scenes on Maze Arcana shows, and you will find my handle is Life Action Roleplay, just like this podcast. Also, you can find Cyn on Sirens of the Realms.
Oh my god, I can't believe that. That's so weird.
And you can find her on Tuesdays
at 7 p.m. 6 p.m.
6
Sorry,
p.m.
6,
6 p.m. on twitch.tv.
Yes.
/DND. So officially on the Dungeons and Dragons channel.
Yes.
And then
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons
and Dragons channel. And then Kai.
You can find me on Inkwell Society, which is also on the Maze Arcana channel, and that starts every 7 o'clock on Wednesday, or every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, whichever you prefer.
I don't know how to sign this off, so
I will. Oh, are you gonna?
Well, I've actually listened to all of the previous podcasts. Well, because I edit all of these.
Really?
And yes, yes.
Wait, we edit these?
OMGA. But we actually do have a catchphrase because just what we do, and we usually say until next time. Bye.
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 Bye. But do you have a different catchphrase you want to use?
No, I mean I always like the. Characters are ammunition, not investments. So go do the dumb, have the fun, get involved in all the things, and make wonderful adventures.
Bye.
Bye.